All right, so for my first YouTube video, I had to pick something. I have a lot of topics in mind. There's gonna be a lot more videos coming, but I wanted to start with this review of this ShoeOnHead video. Shoe is somebody who I've kept up with for a while, but she's weird. She says she's leftist, kind of is. She's kind of not. Her audience is obviously very right-wing. Anytime in the comments, if you go in there, it's pretty right-wing. So I just got done watching this video, and there's some points that I want to talk about because she's right about a lot of things, but she's dead wrong about a couple key things, and I think that we need to talk about that. So here we go.
Imbeciles! Kamala Harris?
Yeah.
Really? That's who you threw up there? The one who dropped out before Iowa? The one who got blown the f out by Tulsi Gabbard? Why didn't you hold a primary? Aren't you the f***ing saviors of democracy? Where the f was that?
This is all Joe Biden's fault. Joe Biden should have dropped out way early. Joe Biden should never even run for election. Everybody already knows this. This is pretty common take. Joe Biden should have he should have held to his promise that he's going to be a transition president. Kamala Harris clearly developed no no capability in her office while she was there. So we definitely needed a primary. Given the situation, I think she had 100 days. She did the best that she could. It's mostly Joe Biden's fault. There's not much to say beyond that.
The democracy! Oh, big congratulations to Tim Walz on being the first white male DEI hire. It didn't f***ing work. The DNC completely neutered that guy, reduced him to this weird token white man. Hello, fellow men, I too play football. But hey, men weren't the only demographic you completely dropped the ball with. Trump made incredible gains with women, too. Oh, and all those never-Trumpers you tried to court, the people who like the old, respectable GOP, you know, the old, respectable dollars, ended up 20 million in thing. Or maybe it was spending 6 figures on a single-use set for the Call Her Daddy podcast that didn't even hit 1 million views. I want to see a full audit of this campaign, because I wouldn't be surprised if this was all like a big money laundering scheme, because honestly, that makes more sense than this being a legitimate presidential campaign. Then, they had the audacity to beg their supporters for money after she lost. How about you? How about every DNC consultant should have this map sewn onto the inside of their eyelids? May they never have a peaceful wink of sleep for the rest of their miserable lives. So that is how I feel about the whole situation. But
yeah. All right. So she goes into about a bunch of what the Democrats are talking about. She talks about what the consultant class, what the media pundits are saying. And of course, they're just blaming everybody except for themselves. That everybody knows this is a lot of people have already had these takes about the Dems are to blame. The Dems need to be embrace populism. We already know this. A lot of other people are saying this, so I'm not going to just repeat what other people have said. If you should watch this video that Shoe has made if you want to hear those talking points, if you haven't heard them at this point, or other content creators have talked about that before. I'm going to skip ahead. So
453,000.
Let's talk about some of the takes that Shoe has had that are really not landing. So she said that a lot of men feel alienated from the left, and that is true. But what they consider the left is not necessarily the same thing as the Democratic Party. Some people have also said this before. A lot of what people ascribe to the Democrats is basically just unhinged Twitter shit, like just crazy stuff that randos say on Twitter. That same standard is not, like Destiny has talked about this before. That same standard is not applied to the right wing. So you can literally, people are comparing someone on Twitter to an elected official on the right, like Donald Trump. He's said crazy shit, and then people are like, oh, well, the left is crazy too. And it's like a person on Twitter. It's not Kamala Harris. It's not Joe Biden. It's not anybody who was actually elected. It's just someone on Twitter just mouthing off. So people that is a big disadvantage. You can't just say oh, young men feel alienated by the left. It's are they just reading tweets and getting mad? Because there's nothing you can really do about that. I'm sorry, we can't just shut down Twitter. I mean, we can't. We're all moving to Blue Sky. So just don't go to Blue Sky, basically. Anyways, this next point is something I want to review.
So what was the overwhelming takeaway from the Democrats and the left? To actually start listening to men? No, of course not. Instead, their solution once again seems to be we need a liberal Joe Rogan. We need a liberal Joe Rogan, ASAP. We need a left-wing Rogan. Democrats are going to keep losing until they have their own Joe Rogan, own Elon Musk, until they create their own alternative to Fox News.
That's true. She presents this tweet. I don't know who the hell this guy is. She presents this tweet as if it's like some sort of DNC or like Twitter take that is just unhinged and is stupid. Like having your own Joe Rogan is kind of stupid. Their own Elon Musk is just saying like a rich financial patron or a backer to actually like fund what is essentially propaganda and their own alternative to Fox News. And people used to say that MSNBC was like the left-wing Fox News. It was for like 2 years. It completely fell off the map. And now Elon is probably going to buy it to turn into like a diet Fox News. When I say diet, I probably means actually more unhinged than Fox News is. So this tweet is mostly correct. What people need to understand is that propaganda won this election, and the Democrats also lost this election because they did not effectively run their own propaganda in a successful way, or just at all. Basically, they ran on nothing except for the status quo, which is not propaganda. You can't make propaganda on the status quo. So, especially with a supremely unpopular president like Joe Biden. So, their own alternative to Fox News is actually an imperative. They actually really do need that, because you need to have talking points that are not just like when people say, like, what is a leftist talking point? What is a liberal? What does the Democratic Party stand for? Where do I go to find out about them? You can't just send them to Twitter. You can't send them to Tumblr or some sort of online space where the most unhinged like college freshmen make up their own crazy ideas or say that's where you get the whole like all men are evil, white privilege is like all these things. Like that's where you get it from. You need an alternative to that, something that is more concise, something that is more, deliberate, where it's actually has a message that can lead to a real outcome. And that's what Fox News is. And they just have a message. They are campaigning 365, 24/7, no matter what the year. They don't campaign just in like the 6 months leading to an election. They campaign every day because they have Fox News. There is no alternative to that, and the left does need one. So this tweet is absolutely correct.
People saying Harris should have done Joe Rogan are missing the point. That wouldn't have helped her. Liberals need to build their own Joe.
Okay, that probably would have not helped her because she's completely inauthentic. Other people have said this before. However, it would have been better than nothing. And if she had just like shed the DNC shackles, she might have been able to do something. She probably still would have lost. And people always make the point that Bernie went on Joe Rogan and he absolutely succeeded in getting his message across. And Joe Rogan even like endorsed Bernie back in 2020. Yeah, we could do that. You could still do that. Although at this point, Joe Rogan is pretty much completely audience captured. So even if Joe Rogan wanted to have Kamala, like his comment section will completely turn on him. The algorithm, all of his like the Rogan verse, like comedians and people, they're already so locked in. They're not leaving unless or until Donald Trump's administration completely crashes the country into the ground, which is a likelihood. So it's gonna be a few years before we actually like can get our own people onto Joe Rogan and start to move the needle with his audience, because his audience is a complete, essentially like a downward spiral of an echo chamber. So the opportunity for Rogan and the Roganverse is kind of closed. The window is closed. And in terms of building your own Joe Rogan, she does make the point here that would come across as completely inauthentic and completely like astroturfed is the quote. And she's pretty right about that.
You're gonna start seeing funded DNC plants all over YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, because they really do think the answer to all of this is more podcasts.
I mean, it's not the more podcasts, but if you just look at how many podcasts are right wing versus left wing, it's not even close. It's like obviously the left needs more podcasts. We have like Majority Report. You have a couple streamers. You have Destiny, Hassan, who hate each other. So yeah, I mean, you do need a more cohesive crop of podcasters, independent media. You know, ShoeOnHead is obviously not doing it. Kyle Kalinske is in the trenches, but like only one, so much him and like Vosh can do. You need more people. It's true. We do need more of an ecosystem.
All the funding in the world won't buy you an audience.
That's the thing. Like it's like true to say. It's like a truism, like money doesn't buy you an audience. You have to actually deliver something. That's obviously true. But clearly money buys the right. Like clearly having money, having financial backers, it's not like you bribe the audience to watching, but it costs money to send this message out. It costs money to post videos. People have like, this is their job and they're funded. If it didn't cost money, why the hell is Fox News essentially an apparatus that runs in lockstep with the GOP? Why is Tim Pool funded literally by the Kremlin? Why, and all the other people too, Steven Crowder, all the so-called independent people all echo the same talking points, and they go on Fox News. People from Fox News go on their podcasts. You'll have Jordan Peterson and the sort of like Ben Shapiro verse and those spinoffs like Candace Owens will all host each other, and not just each other, but then they'll get like politicians. You'll have like Josh Hawley was on Peterson's podcast. These are senators. These are candidates. I mean, the fact that like Joe Rogan had Donald Trump on his podcast and JD Vance like a week apart, like this is all very coordinated, and that coordination costs money. So like, there's no way that you could say like you can't, like money doesn't matter. Money absolutely matters. Okay, just having a ragtag, uncoordinated group of like Kyle Kalinske, you know, Destiny Hassan, who hate each other, and occasionally ShoeOnHead when she is not audience captured by her right-wing audience. It's not the same. It's obviously not on the same level.
You could have $1 million set and the best sound and video equipment ever, but it will not buy you a large and dedicated audience.
It's not about the audience. It's not about the video production set. We all know that. It is about access. It is about advertisements. It's about spamming accounts. It's about spamming your videos all across the internet. It's about capturing market share. That's what it is. It's not about cameras. This is a stupid take.
I've been using a Mac laptop webcam and a
We know.
shitty snowball
This is a
mic for
stupid
over 10
take.
years, and you idiots keep coming back for some reason. And listen, it's 2024. Y'all have a camera and a microphone. Be the liberal Joe Rogan you want to see in the
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
world. But the thing is, if people can hear your opinions when they turn on the TV, they're not gonna watch your shit. People tune into alt media to hear alt opinions. Even the most popular.
Yeah, okay, maybe that's a fair point. That there is a market though for like guys like Pod Save America that are like the most astroturf liberal dudes ever, and they like the coldest takes. Like, I guess it's unfair to say that they're, you know, like, I don't want to be unfair to the guys, but they do like talk. Pod Save America talks like in a very NPR sort of like, they have like long-winded answers to everything. They're very much not like a Theo Von, but people do watch their stuff. And there is an audience on the left that wants that listens to NPR. We're not going to forget about that part of the coalition. So, you know, there's something to that.
Streamers like Hassan, for example, spend a lot of time criticizing the Democratic Party. So it's gonna be hard to build some kind of like Democrat shill Joe Rogan. But I can't wait to see you try.
This is a good point.
Into perspective, the Trump coalition is closer to the Obama coalition than the Harris one is. That is crazy. That is wild. That is what we call a potential party switch.
It's a little too early to say it's going to be a party switch. Although, I mean, it's happened before. So,
and I don't really care about how many leftists or Democrats cope about this. We have better union policies. We have better wages policy. Yeah, that might be true, and I agree. But we don't get to decide who the party of the working class is. The working class does.
Yeah, policy doesn't matter. Vosh has already said that. I completely agree. Other people have said that. Like, policy is basically worthless. It's all about rhetoric and essentially propaganda. Going back to that propaganda point, it matters. And you need money to make that happen. You need secure funds. You need secure cohesion. You need a unified movement. So it matters.
And if exit polls are anything to go by, basic left-wing economic policy is still incredibly popular. People just hate the Democratic Party. White men without college degrees are going to ruin this country. First of all, white men without college degrees built this country.
This is what I mean when she's audience captured. Like she has to give them what they want. White men built this country. Okay, a lot of Chinese and Mexican and black men also built this country. If you really want to go like the whole like, you know, blue collar glazing here, which is fine. Like I had a union job. I did that, you know, but like this is like some serious pandering.
Second of all, this is apparently a real Democratic Party strategist saying this.
Love a
You
little
want to know how to win
girl-on-girl
2028?
action here, huh?
Step 1. Stop listening to freaks like this. The election, if having a degree was a requirement to vote.
Okay, to be fair, like, whatever, I'm not going to say
And
it.
this is what the election would look like if
We
everyone
live in a
was allowed to
democracy.
vote.
Everybody gets a vote.
Oh wait,
It's true.
that's this election. I too hate democracy.
And I think Bernie Sanders is wrong. I think the more relevant question actually is what is wrong with America?
Yeah, that isn't unproductive. So everybody was already talking about how like liberals like blaming everybody else like is completely unproductive. Like you have to take responsibility for yourself. We already know this. Everybody already knows this.
Democrats have a smug problem. The day
Yeah,
after the
everybody
election,
knows that.
an NBC News chart circulated on Instagram that highlighting exit poll data showing that the more education you had, the more likely you would vote for Vice President Kamala Harris over President-elect Donald Trump.
So it says like some liberals use the occasion to look down on the icky dummies who are too stupid to know they shouldn't vote for Trump. Here's the thing. They're right. Okay. People are literally voting for Donald Trump who are undocumented, who are going to be like literally sent to the camps and then like deported, you know, unless the GOP realizes like, oh shit, these people voted for us. Maybe we should keep them around. But there is a lot of uneducated people, and she's going to go into like talking about the median voter and it's going to be like, it's going to sound really gross, but it's just true.
Your college degree does not make you any smarter than a working class person without a college degree. And more importantly, don't talk down to a vast majority of the population, because despite how badly you want to believe it, they are not stupid. They are the people who grow your food, build your houses, pave your roads, fix the plumbing in your luxury apartments. And guess what? There are more of them than they are of you. So maybe you people should start listening to them instead of wagging your finger in their faces as if disagreeing with you is some moral failing, because it's not. These people aren't all racists and Nazis or whatever. They are normal people. They are the proletariat. They're who you should be fighting for. And they don't believe you are fighting for them. More importantly, there is a difference between being educated and being smart. IQ isn't just about how many books you read or how many words you know. A lot of it is about pattern recognition, and boy did I recognize some.
Yeah. Look, this is all true. It's just like, if you read a lot, if you are like pattern recognition, you're obviously interested in learning about things. Now, a lot of like, are you going to learn about things is about like, do you have time? Are you working? You know, like, you have to go out and seek it. And the fact is like a lot of people who go to college don't actually actively participate, but a lot of them do. And a lot of people who don't go to college, they just never reach that point where they're like, yeah, maybe I will learn about history. Maybe I will understand some things like it's just true. Okay. Like we don't, it's not elitist to just look at the facts and say like Mississippi is 50th on education and has always voted red until the party switched back when it voted for blue, when they were the conservatives. Like, it's not rocket science. You just look. Okay. Being elitist about it is a terrible electoral strategy. And she's right about that. But like, it's not a secret that what people who live in cities are less fearful of each other and work more towards the collective good. Like it just tracks. It's a correlation. People who go to college read about critical theory on a variety of subjects. It's not like just CRT. It's like history, it's sociology. Like, you know how many, I've watched a video about a guy who was like, how I got off the right-wing pipeline. And it literally just boiled down to him basically like accidentally discovering sociology and then accidentally discovering history. And it's like, dude, and he's like in England. He was like from England. He read a book. I don't know. I forgot this YouTuber's name. He read a book about chavs and was like, oh, wow. So it turns out poverty is why people do crimes. Like he literally just discovered, I learned about this in like freshman year. Like, yeah, school matters. Go to school.
Patterns here. Maybe you guys should have listened to the bimbo with populist brain rot, because she seemed to be right about a lot of this.
Yeah, that's basically it. She was pretty much right.
These people aren't.
But she's got a couple takes that are just like horrendous. Anyway, this is going to be my worst video of all time, so I'll try to get better at this.